It makes no sense, but I feel it, and I know it's real.
It has to be self-fulfillment no matter what, I think. And like as selfish, as it may sound.
Podding, bro. Shouts out to fucking Joe Budden for making that word up.
He did?
I just always hear him and Rory and Maul talking like that. We're about a pod, bro. We're about to hit up the pod. We're about to pod. It's now a verb. It's a verb now. All right, you ready to get started?
I've always been ready to be here.
Be here right now.
Be here right now. Hindsight 2020.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Where we look at our year, our month, our week, our day.
Daytime.
But we don't regret.
None of that.
None of that shit. We don't regret nothing, baby. We in here. We in this bitch. Yeah.
Dude, the evolution of hip hop.
You want to start with that one?
I mean, yeah, I think it's only right. That's
okay.
That's our roots, right?
It is the roots of everything that
how we met. Music.
Of our relationship and of everything that each of us individually is doing right now is all because of something called hip hop.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. All right. So pretty much Netflix came out with this cool documentary, and it's actually in its 4th season called Hip Hop Evolution. The first couple seasons, I didn't really watch any of them yet, but I wanted to touch on this one because it's really relevant to the origin stories of how hip hop in the South came to be how it is. And since the South influences everything that goes on in hip hop right now, I thought it'd be cool for you guys. The dirty South. That's, yeah, exactly. Straight up. And you guys will probably learn a lot just like we did from watching this documentary. So the first episode has to do with New Orleans and the bounce wave, Master P and Cash Money. And then the second one...
That fool's crazy, bro. Master P.
Yeah. We're gonna get into the specifics. And the second episode has to do with what they called... What did the title of the fucking episode? Like the Southern... I forget what the fuck it was called. It was something
with 3-6 Mafia.
Yeah, it was H-Town... it was H-Town, Houston. Memphis, and it was Atlanta with Lil Jon.
They threw that in there too?
Yeah, that was all three of those things. Because that's what happened after, I think, the Louisiana shit bubbled in the 80s and the 90s with Master P and Cash Money, which I didn't even know that was the origin of how shit popped off in the South. I thought Atlanta started all that shit. I didn't realize that Louisiana kind of set the stage with what Master P was doing with No Limit Records. But we can start from the beginning. So New Orleans, the birthplace of jazz. I learned that it was the most Africanized city in America. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
That was like
what does Africanized mean, though?
It means the French people that owned slaves that lived in Louisiana, they didn't really have like a strict relationship with their slaves. They kind of let them do what they wanted to do. So they retained a lot of their African culture.
That makes sense,
Which is why the voodoo is down there in New Orleans, which is why they're into more spirituality rather than
they got
Christianity.
That big ass celebration. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right, I got shit. You.
And it was kind of cool because it kind of put the dots together of why they have such a different culture down there than they do anywhere else in the States. Because there's no other part of the States that's into witchcraft and voodoo the way that New Orleans is, the way that Louisiana is. Block parties are huge in New Orleans projects. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that the block party, like the way that word came about was due to the way that people partied in New Orleans. I didn't realize that.
Mardi Gras?
Yeah, I thought that was fucking cool. Manny Fresh was a producer in the late 1980s, which I had no idea he had started that early, that started the New Orleans bounce with Sabu, who was a mobile DJ, and that style of New Orleans bounce became like the entire style that the entire city was based on.
Yeah, they were all just like dance. They would just bring it to the party and just go
with
crazy
the same
with it. Huh?
Beat,
yeah,
and just redoing it, coming up with all these dances. Like
you can almost relate that to how old people when they hear new songs, but that's the same beat over and over. Like if you hear a trap beat or something like that with the same drums and shit like that. But like to us, we can hear the different little nuances. But I can see that. being like it kind of sounds like the same little beat, but to them it was like, oh shit, this is it's like our own shit, you know?
It's our sound.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even up on game. Do you want to know what honestly introduced me to New Orleans bounce?
Besides this, you
Besides
mean?
this?
What?
The Drake record, Nice for What? That Nice for What song had New Orleans drums and bounce in it. And I was listening to Drake talk about how he came up with the song, his inspirations for it. And in that record, he also has a line that says Louisiana, because he's shouting out Wayne.
Which is a pretty famous I don't know if you've heard of Lil Wayne says that a lot in his lines.
Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana.
But yeah, I guess I'm just brand new to understanding what was going on in New Orleans, period, because I didn't know shit about New Orleans hip-hop other than Hot Boys, Lil Wayne, and Cash Money and all that shit.
But how much did you really know about Hot Boys and Juvenile and all that? You know, like that's pretty grown. You know, like I wouldn't expect you. You know, that's like
yeah. I know the hits.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Back That Ass Up. I know Back
Slow
That
Motion. You ever heard that? Oh, Slow Motion for me. Slow Motion for me.
Yeah, I've heard that
slow
shit.
Motion. Yeah, hell yeah.
I didn't know it by the name, but I've heard that song.
That's Juvenile, bro. That's even old for me though. You know, like I mean, like that's like that was like mature for my age. You know, like I was young when that shit came out.
I also had no idea that they were using 808 drums back then. Like, people always say, oh, 808's the new thing. Like, nah, like, beat producers were making 808 beats in the 80s.
But it took a lot for hip-hop to even be, like, you know, accepted. I think that's where that whole stigma comes from about 808s in general. Like, the BC Boys, they were using 808s, like, super hardcore. So, like, just the fact of electric drums and stuff like that is just like there's a whole stigma behind it, and not actually using a real instrument, which is all just sound at the end of the day.
It's all subjective too, because it does take a real talent to play an instrument, and that's a whole nother type of skill. And I would say making a beat is like a left brain activity, whereas playing an instrument is more of a right brain activity, because you have to have the talent and the artistry to play that instrument, where you can kind of just program a drum kit. You know, you still have to have a little bit of creativity to make a beat sound like musical. Mm-hmm. But to program a drum kit is really analytical. Like, you have to know where the 808 comes in on the downbeat, like where what hi-hat pattern you want.
Yeah.
It's more of an analytical thing than a creative thing.
I think it's something that you could probably learn easier just fucking around, like you were saying, as opposed to just like it'd be harder to learn real songs on like a trumpet, you know, like as opposed to just fucking around on a beat pad and like getting to know a snare and a kick drum and a hi-hat and stuff. I mean, you could probably take an hour and put a beat together, you know?
You could put a beat together and it could sound fly as fuck.
And people could dance to it in a party.
Old ass people would be like, why does it sound like that? Fuck them.
I mean,
fuck them old ass people. But yeah, so they put out that song Buck Jump Time in 1989 with Gregory D and Manny Fresh, where they shouted out every single ward in New Orleans. And a ward in New Orleans is like calling out your block, like your hood or your set, but they call it wards. And the song was meant to unify the New Orleans scene, so that's why they shouted out third ward, fourth ward, but it ended up becoming like the anthem that every time it came on, anyone that was from opposing wards would just start fighting. So they kind of they threw it back in their face as a song that was supposed to be unifying all the words, and then that shit ended up turning into like mayhem every time the song came on.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, I feel like, what can you expect from that, you know? I mean, and they're like known for block parties. I mean, like, I guess, you know, like, I guess it could be meant to bring everybody together, but I feel like if everyone has that type of energy, you know, it's already, everyone just knows what time it is. Like, it just becomes that type of energy. But yeah, the South is crazy, bro. That's like real down South, like, when we're talking about, like you said, everything that is in the new age, like talking about like women talking about their genitals and stuff like that, like that's really
down south.
From down south, yeah, real dirty
Girls,
down south shit. Yep.
Lil' Kim, all that. That's all. That's just some shit though that people be taking the wrong way too.
Exactly.
When they were breaking it down, like New Orleans came up with what twerking is, and they would just have girls shaking ass and saying go to work, and then the slang just started. They just put the T in front of it and they're like twerk, and then that came up with the word twerk that literally everyone fucking uses. Even our boss should be like, twerk it, girl, like get to twerking. You know?
But wait, what are you saying that people
Like the down south influence is so crazy that New Orleans made that word up, and now 25 years later, that's like a worldwide word.
Worldwide use word. Twerk.
Twerk.
Real shit.
To work. Get to work.
You can't go anywhere without hearing that. Usher, Lil Jon, Ludacris. That's what I'm saying, bro.
That's that crunk too. So that. Maybe I shouldn't go over it the way I am in terms of like hitting every detail, but the episode focused on Bounce, the New Orleans Bounce, Master P starting his label and taking the New Orleans sound to like a more gangsta sound, whereas the Bounce scene was the only one that dominated in New Orleans. So when he came out, no one fucked with him, which is the hardest thing for him to do as someone trying to start a new label, is come into a scene in your city, not support you. So what he had to do with all his artists on No Limit was go to the neighboring cities and neighboring hotspots. Like they went up to DC, and back in the day in the early 90s, going to DC when you're not from there was really dangerous for him.
Going to DC is dangerous in general.
But they were going to LA when they were going to all the different hoods where people were fucking with hip hop and just selling their shit. And that shit was they were like, it was a risk, but we did it because we knew what we were doing and we didn't care what the repercussions were. And eventually,
didn't he sell a dumb amount of records though? Like doing that though, like a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I wrote down.
Oh, damn.
Did I? I don't.
I wish I would have wrote it down. I was pretty surprised at how much he sold. I was like, oh my god, like he pretty much started his label from ground up, right?
I know it's in the millions. I know it's in like the hundreds of thousands that he sold personally. That's crazy, like in the millions. But yeah, he started the label with $10,000, just went into other hoods, and then eventually it caught on everywhere else, and then New Orleans was like, oh yeah, that's Master P. He's from here.
yeah.
He's from here. He went to like other labels where artists were making different styles of music. So he went to labels where New Orleans artists were making bounce music, and he would go in and be like, hey, I have this label called No Limit, and you should be a part of it. It's going to be the biggest independent label in the world one day. And for some reason, people believed him, and he swooped everyone's artists from all these other labels. And then, he ended up being the biggest indie label, and he made 26 albums in '98. One of his artists, Mia X, had an album on the Billboard Top 200 and they made it in 10 days. They made 16 songs in 10 days, and she was right under Celine Dion.
The power of influence, bro. I feel like if we were in the studio and we had the opportunities like that, bro, we can make hits in days like that easy.
Oh, of course.
Couple days,
The thing is, like, I've never even heard of that person, but they had a Billboard Top 200 number 2 charting album right under Celine Dion back in '98, and I've never even heard of them.
98.
That's the power of an independent label. Like they put someone on that worldwide wasn't accepted, but the world heard it. That's crazy.
That's the best part.
And then fucking Cash Money came on the scene, and they just followed what Master P did. I didn't have any context prior to know when Master P started his shit and when Baby started his shit, but they just like followed the blueprint of the independent label, and they actually took way more money from labels than Master P ever did. They got a $30 million deal with the Hot Boys. And it was cool listening to them talk about how they branded the Hot Boys, because they had other groups on the label that weren't working out, like UNLV, which was bringing the bounce with gangsta lyrics. Mm-hmm. And then they tried to do this thing with Juvenile, Lil Wayne, Turk, and BG, where they were a boy band, where they matched their clothes, they matched whatever outfits they had on. They got down in the videos like a boy band, but they were just rapping some thug-ass shit. Lil Wayne was like 11 or 12 years old in the beginning. That's what you were saying the last time. I didn't know that, but that's fucking crazy. And then Back That Ass Up comes out, and now they're on top in 99 and early 2000s.
Which is probably crazy for fucking Wayne's little ass. 12 years old, 13 years old. Fuck, bro.
And Juvenile was already an old head back when the group started, so they had a wide range of artists from where Juvenile probably in his like mid to late 20s, Lil Wayne 11 or 12, and the group was successful for a long ass time.
For a little bit, but then they had their falling out though.
For sure.
That nigga Turk did fucking a lot of brown.
For real? Is that what happened?
It's crazy, yeah. I don't know. It's so crazy how much I know about the Hot Boys. Not really though, but like just from liking Lil Wayne so much, like, and him referencing it in songs, you just know Just certain things. Yeah, it's just crazy, bro.
What happened with Turk and BG though? Because I don't even hear those names too much. You hear Juvenile's name still get mentioned.
I don't know what happened with BG, but I just know that. I mean, I know that him and Turk actually have made a song not too long ago, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was on one of one of his mixtapes. His mixtape game. Oh my god, that's another thing. But he got into drugs, bro, like hardcore drugs. But it's weird because like lean. They'll say it's like liquid heroin or whatever, but I guess that fool actually really did do heroin, and he was like, influencing all the younger dudes that were on the tour bus with him too. So Wayne could have been one of those dudes, but he was like, nah, I'm not into that. But it's kind of crazy to think about like all of the hip hop legends that we think about, bro. Like even Wu-Tang was doing Sherm and shit like that, bro. Like
they're doing meth.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Straight up, man.
M-E-T,
Straight up.
H-O-D, man. I got the meth.
Straight up.
They were doing all that shit.
Yeah.
Because that was the upper. Like that, the meth was like the cocaine. Cocaine was socially acceptable for a really long period of time, and so was meth. For a long ass time. And now lean is socially acceptable.
I think everything's socially acceptable until it becomes not, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Xans were really socially acceptable up until like when Lil Peep died. Now it's still like really prevalent, but it's not as like widely accepted.
I don't know. I don't know what. I think weed's socially acceptable now. Like
weed is for sure.
It's really, really crazy socially. Like I think that one switched up, huh? That one went from like being the worst, like being called dope. Like they call it dope, bro. That's crazy, dude. Like that's heroin, Like it's not even close. Like it's
smoke dope.
Yeah, but
I do pot.
Now it's like everybody in California where we are at right now is just pretty much smokes.
They're high all the time. They're just high.
There's literally stores where you can just go buy it next to our stores where we like sell juices and shit, like like CBD, boom, right there.
It was funny. I was saying to Jesse the other day, we were talking, and he was like, "Bro, I don't smoke weed. I smoke 100% THC."
You should have said that's not good. That's synthesized.
Is it not good though?
Okay, so there's not any studies that are saying anything against it, but I'm saying anything. Me and Snow are saying pretty much anything that you're synthesizing and taking, more than just the plant itself, like
taking something out of the plant.
Yeah, you're taking that, then concentrating more of it. Yeah, you're already taking. You're taking
out of its
more
natural form.
Exactly,
where it's like has the correct proportions of certain shit.
Exactly, but there's no studies that that are against dabbing or anything. I dab, so but I was just saying like. That's just one of those things that I would say to that. Or anybody that is like, oh, you never know. Or I dab a 100% THC. Or it's like, I don't know how good that is for you because like the whole point of marijuana is to get like the every part of the plant. Yeah, exactly.
All the other the tryptophan, all that shit.
Mm-hmm. So I would know.
Back to H-Town.
Yeah.
It was really cool hearing them talk about DJ Screw in this way because I've always heard stories about DJ Screw and like Pimp C and Bun B shout him out on tracks. Lil Kiki shouts him out. Like everyone from H-Town, honestly, Slim Thug, Paul Wall, Zero, all those fools shout that shit out. But it was cool to hear them.
That's where the lean culture literally comes from. Literally. But it's kind of like, it's weird because it's New Orleans jazz artists that were putting like their cough syrup in their beer. So it's kind of like a mixture, and then they like kind of migrated. Houston like kind of like adapted that like, but with actual
popularized it.
Yeah, but made it like
a thing.
But with the actual purple drink, where like they're just specific ingredients as opposed to it just being cough syrup and beer in your drink. Yeah,
Yeah, because the lean is a mixture of promethazine and codeine, and then you pour that shit into.
That's like the popularized version. Yeah. There will be a lot of people that will argue and shit. Whatever, fuck it.
It was cool to see his brother Big Bub still holding the Screw tape store down, like 25 years later. DJ Screw actually came up by selling $10 CDs out of his crib. And at one point in the early stages of their career, before they really started to gain traction, this fool would have lines with 1,500 people outside wrapping around the block just to buy a $10 CD. He sold $100,000 worth of CDs out of his crib in like a couple weeks span or something.
Imagine doing that, bro. Those days are over now, but just imagine that now,
like the IRS would be on you, bro. And people wouldn't be buying CDs, they'd be buying the USB or some shit.
Yeah.
And it was cool.
But I'm just saying, imagine having just a line outside your house. It would just be so funny, bro. Like you'd literally make Instagram or you'd make fucking headlines instantly.
Crazy. And I don't know. I feel like people in hip hop don't do what this fool did back in the day now, where you'd pay him $20 and you could hop on the mic on any one of his beats.
That's sick.
That's what he was doing with Fat Pat, ESG.
There's some people that do that, but I feel like maybe they just don't. I don't know. Maybe they don't have the platform or they're not as popular. You know, like there's people that just be giving out beats pretty much, like you know.
Yeah.
But
in the way that he was doing it though, he was just giving those artists an opportunity to like be a part of his sound, and that's when he started slowing it down. That's when he started taking it and like just spin it with tape recording, which is what they were doing back in the day in the like the early to late 90s. Making can't even talk
record.
Now. Making a chop and screwed mix in the early 90s was a task because you had to take the tape and do all sorts of crazy shit with it. It's not like you
literally chopped and screwed it, like, like yeah, exactly. There's no computers involved, bro. Like this is real tape shit. That's okay. Sorry to like cut it. Yeah, Snow was telling me about this because like when we do mastering or when I run stuff through him, like my stems, he'll run it through his tape like emulator. But what they used to have to do is literally record onto the tape, like you were saying. So like all that chopping and screwing is literally chopping and like you said, like crazy, putting the fucking, and then you have to like half the speed or whatever, like you said sometimes, and then that's a lot of work for sure.
You'd have to do that all manually with analog equipment.
Yeah, for sure.
All of it's manual. In digital, you can do that shit like that.
Kind of. Even it still kind of takes a while. Like I mean, like if you're
to do the actual chopping, the screwing is just slowing. What would you think? Is it? Yeah, no, the chopping is the chop, like where they would take the beat and like echo a certain.
Yeah, chopping is like like it's like when you chop it up, and then the screw is when it's like slowed down. Yeah,
for sure. And apparently, like Lil Kiki was saying, that people didn't really understand the concept that they would actually record the music fast and then slow it down. Apparently, everyone thought that they were just recording it like that. That's why when they were getting big and shit, people didn't know how they were doing it. Like, how are you guys making the music sound like that? No, we recorded it at normal pace and then we slow that shit down.
It's funny that came from like him just being so leaned out, bro. That's crazy, bro. Like that's insane. So you can't really, I don't know, like that literally sprouted from that drug, so it's like a bittersweet relationship.
It is totally bittersweet. And the little statistic that I just read off about his CDs, I fucked that up. He sold 1,500 tapes in 2 hours outside his crib. That's crazy. But yeah, then he OD'd on lean, and he had heart. They don't know if he OD'd. That's what his friends were trying to say in the Netflix special. They were trying to make it seem like people were quick to assume that he OD'd on lean, but he had actual prior symptoms of heart issues. Mm-hmm. So it could have been caused by the lean. He could have had heart issues. They were trying to make sure that you knew, though, that it might not have been the lean, just so it wasn't a statistical thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It wasn't just a statistic. But, yeah. He literally started the sound that then spread it out to Memphis with 666, DJ Spanish Fly. I learned so much with this dog, bro.
DJ Memphis. I mean, not DJ Memphis. What the fuck?
DJ Spanish Fly.
No, 3-6 Mafia. I just heard you say DJ Spanish Fly. Fucking, there are just the whole Memphis scene is so crazy. Like, I don't know. Was it talking about? Because I've seen like a whole Memphis documentary. So I'm like mixing a bunch of things right now in my head. But did it go into like where all of Memphis would kind of just like hop on everybody's beats? Like, no matter who it was, like, everybody would have these beats, but everybody was competing to just, like, try to get the hottest song out, but, like, everybody would be on the same beats.
On the same beat? No, I didn't talk about that.
Oh, yeah, that shit is so sick. And, like, there'd just be tapes of just niggas with, my bad, the same beat, different song, but it was competing, like, because everybody would, like, give out, or, like, people would just have free beats out, like, just make up beat tapes and shit.
That's dope.
To see who can make it the coolest, I guess. That's, like, and that's where 3-6 Mafia came from.
Yeah, with DJ Paul. But the whole origin to that story was with the Gangsta Walk, which is a famous Memphis dance. And it was so famous that when artists from other cities would come, they would have to learn how to do that shit or make music that people could do that shit too, or the crowd wouldn't fuck with them.
See?
If you didn't have the BPM that you could do the Gangsta Walk dance to, people in Memphis wouldn't fuck with you. So LL Cool J and DOC had to, like, when they came, they had to learn the Gangsta Walk. I thought that was a cool little fun fact. But yeah, 3-6 Mafia, DJ Paul, they had, oh shit, this was the $100,000 stat that tripped me out. DJ Paul made $200,000 off mixtapes in high school. Imagine that, bro. Imagine being just a fucking kid making beats in high school and you made $200,000 with your mixtapes. Just from people local. That many people are buying your shit. You're that popping in your city.
Exactly.
It's fucking crazy. And they got
Times
a
have
$45
changed.
million deal for Mystic Styles. You know, it took him $4,500 to make this shit. I was just I'm a numbers dude. When I see numbers, it really trips me out. I couldn't believe that, bro. $45 million for an album back then. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, but you know that they're not seeing 45 million. But
no, they're not. But
but yeah, just
1 million in the 90s. Dude, 45 million in the early 90s, early 2000s is like so much more now. It's so much more now. That would be like getting $20,000 back then would be like $100,000 now. So getting 45 million back then would be like getting like what, like 200 something million now.
But don't people get those type of deals right now?
I don't know.
What did Baby just get?
Probably a couple million. You think he got 100 million?
I don't know. I have no idea. I thought you would know.
I don't know. Did he just get signed?
But he got signed, but he has his own label through Atlantic or some shit. So
really?
So that's how he signed Senate, or is it Interscope or something? I don't know. So they have a joint label or something like that. You know how fucking these fools be doing it, where they come in and they don't get 360 dealed. I don't know. Some of these dudes be doing it. They just be that. You have to come in that popular, pretty much. Like,
yeah, you have to come in with the buzz.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much, they need you. They, so you're not looking for the record labels. The record labels are looking for you,
so they can benefit mutually off of that shit.
So you literally make all the demands yourself, and you say, I'm gonna put this nigga on, and
I'm gonna own this master.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
And you can have the rights to this, and we can put out a project where you do this, but then you have to give me this, this, and this in return. That's what Russ did. He walked into that shit and was like, okay, I own all my shit on TuneCore. Every single that I put out that's not on an album, I own all that shit. I own all the mastering, and then we mutually benefit off of my albums. And that's how he has the extremely crazy career that he has. He has two separate ones. He has his indie catalog, and then he has his.
So he went into who does he have? Columbia. So that was a decision that he made for himself to.
So he gets money with the label when he puts albums out, and then anything he puts out by himself, it's all his. Which is not a situation artists could have been in very long ago. Not even a couple of years ago, I don't think artists could have talked themselves into that position without the social media the way it is. Because how do you build a following without social media? You don't. You either have to be popping in your city and the label knows that, or nothing because there's no internet. There's no social media. Like, I don't know.
That is social media, literally. Like the people talking is the social media. Holy shit. The 90s.
It's just crazy. A couple more little fun facts, and then we'll just kind of talk about this shit.
It's all good.
Memphis came up with the term crunk. I didn't know that. So that shit actually comes from Memphis, and it means to get buck. Crunk is to get buck. And
then, get fucked up.
And the way that the South works, like you were saying, is that different cities in the South just kind of fuck with each other. So Lil Jon took that slang from Memphis and turned that shit into a whole style of music. And he created crunk music, which was crazy to hear him break it down because he's like, we're all about chants. We're not rappers. We're not trying to rap.
We
just supply the vibes and we create chants. So he's like, we don't even want to be put in that lane with the hip hoppers and all that shit.
No, that's real shit though. Yeah. That's like where you can divide the line. I can put that. I can give that respect because like when you go to like the Haitian roots and the Jamaican roots, they're doing all that shit, like and they're all getting crazy and like doing those dances and getting together and like shaking their bodies and stuff like that. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy because people in fucking Louisiana, guys and girls will twerk, and it's not a gay thing if you're a guy twerking because that's just the dance. But now it's so different now. It's like that's a girl thing to do now. But I liked hearing him talk about mixing. I had no idea that Lil Jon has been out since the 90s. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that he mixed a lot of his records. Like, he's an actual engineer and producer on top of being fucking icon. Literally an icon.
Yeah, you don't. A lot of people don't like to give him credit. They'll be like, it's like almost like a DJ Khaled type effect, like where, I guess you could call it the Lil Jon effect because he came first, but like, because he just says, what? And you don't really think of him as like being the artist or that fool does the rap. He's not a rapper, but like, yeah, he engineered the fuck out of that beat though, my nigga, like, and he put some sick ad-libs on there, so.
And the whole reason that energy music even exists, and to Fat Joe's credit, he was giving Lil Jon his props in the show. Fat Joe's like, the reason we have energy music is because of guys like Lil Jon. Because before that, it's all left brain. It's all analytical bar music. But with shit like, yeah, like, okay, like all that type of shit is all energy. It has nothing to do with what the fuck you're saying or how your bars came together, what your punchline was. It has everything to do with the energy and how it makes you feel, which is fucking crazy. And he was like, he called himself, I'm the original energy god. I'm the original energy god.
Lil Jon, the original energy god. Fuck, bro. In music, in modern day music, you could definitely call him that. Every time you see a Lil Jon song, you're gonna be like, think about it like you went on YouTube right now and it just said da-da-da featuring Lil Jon. You'd be like, oh shit. I think that just happened like with Migos, Lil Jon, like a couple years ago or something. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how'd they get a song with Lil Jon? How do you get a song with Lil Jon?
Oh no.
It must be really hard nowadays, huh?
I bet. Especially because he doesn't really need to make music no more. He doesn't. He's set for life for sure. With all the fucking royalties he probably gets for all the songs and the fact that he did produce them and he's got all the pub and the writing and all that shit, he definitely set himself up the right way. And the fact that the Get Low record wasn't even bleeped on the radio because they were talking about how white people and other people in the industry didn't know what skeet skeet meant. That shit it blew my mind. I was like, you guys didn't know what skeet skeet meant?
You have to grow up in our generation to know what that means. Honestly, bro, because I don't know where this is, like, I don't know how this is falling in my brain or anything, but, like, I remember that being a thing where, like, either I said it or, like, I think I got in trouble maybe when I was a little kid for saying it or, like, didn't or something, like, one of those things where skeet wasn't, like, or no one, like, I don't know, dude. It wasn't really a cuss word, bro. But then I was talking to you about curse words, and I was kind of tripped out about that whole thing, because like on Dragon Ball Z they be saying bastard and stuff like that. So I was like, what is a curse word?
Dude, and some curse words you can say on live TV, some you can't.
That's what you see.
It's weird. It doesn't make no.
I swear I heard bitch on like some live TVs or like some like just G-rated movies and shit like that. Like. So I don't even know.
Maybe it depends on context.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the frequency. That honestly reminds me of that whole Chappelle thing in his most recent special. What is that shit called? It's the one Sticks and Stones or whatever. The most recent one that he put out that he got lots of backlash.
Is that the one? Yeah, okay.
He was he's allowed to say the N-word on live TV, but people get all fucking riled up when he uses the F word, faggot. I'm not using the word. My friends, I'm not using it. I'm just saying the word. I'm referencing the word. But yeah, apparently you're not allowed to say that word, but you're allowed to say the N-word. And he's like, well, why can't I say it? And she's like, because you're not gay. And he's like, well, I'm not an N-word either. So why are you letting me say this? That's just a real contradiction, bro. That's a real life contradiction. Like, how are you going to be okay with one thing and not be okay with the other? Makes no sense. Like, how are you going to let one curse word fly and then the other one, which isn't even technically a curse word, it's just an offensive word, you don't let that one fly. It makes no sense to me. My lady is hitting me up. But yeah, the South, man. I can't wait to dig into the next 2 episodes of that shit.
I think the next 2 episodes are gonna really blow your mind, bro. Because I guess I watched it backwards or whatever, but these next 2, dude, are wow, man. Like, I gotta tip my hat to Kanye one time, bro. Fucking Kanye West, bro. I don't give a fuck about that full fucking being whatever he is now, but like how he came up, bro, and like he's okay. You know what's weird? Sorry, before we get into this, he came in Jesus Walks and he's about to leave Jesus Walks, bro. That's crazy to me, dude. He came in with Jesus Walks, bro. So like, I can't even hate, bro. For real.
I mean, I don't know, because the way he used the religion back then was it was less about the actual happenings that go on in like a strict, harsh Christian person's mind, and more about like his battles with religion.
I mean, is that how you were like interpreting it? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know, I want to feel that way too, but I think it's just crazy that his first debut song was Jesus Walks, like.
So he's not really switching up. If anything, he's going back.
That just blew my mind. I was like, damn, bro. So yeah, we're all switching out now, imagine.
But yeah, man, the South, shouts out. I guess we owe everything to what y'all motherfuckers did.
Well, I mean, yeah, that part of that, like he said, energy. We still got the whole, like you said, consciousness part of it that plays a part in the hip hop. You know,
I didn't mean us specific. I'm just saying, like, thank you, South, for putting hip hop on to where it is now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because San Diego, Beach City, we gonna do something totally different when they hear our style.
It's gonna be way different.
Way different. We got that ocean sound.
But yeah, segueing in, let's fucking get into melanin. You didn't get what Carl Marat was telling us?
I got it. I got, like, the different facts that he was laying out, but I don't think I got, like, a full-on understanding of maybe how everything was connected.
Okay. So basically, I mean, I don't know if we're going to be... Are we going to put clips on there, or do you want me to just go through, like... Maybe I'll just send you, like, little facts and pictures, but whatever that dude was saying is... Basically, Carl Marat, he's a biochemist, and he basically engineered the technology that they use to get to the top of Mount Everest. And yeah, so this dude's like, yeah, real deal, like real deal type shit. And he's
the guy that made it possible to hike Everest.
Yeah. With all the analytics and everything, and to figure out why people can possibly live up there, which...
White people?
Why people? No, why people? Yeah. We should put the link. We'll put the link for this video in the description to make it easier because he can explain it a lot better than I can. But anyway, so what this dude is pushing is basically chaga mushrooms. Like that's basically a superfood. And it's crazy because we were talking about fungus, and like how it could have played a role in, human evolution and stuff like that. And it's just a crazy organism in its own. I don't know if like it like talks to, like they talk to each other. They have like their own form of communication and stuff like that. And like fungus comes from death, does that make sense? So like it's just like it's life from death, so it's just like a weird kind of connection.
Is it vegan to eat mushrooms then?
Shit, I don't know.
It's borderline.
You tell me. I like you said, isn't vegan just at this point? It's
limiting the
ethics.
amount of cruelty to the lowest common denominator for what's possible for survival.
But then there's a difference between plant-based, though, right?
Plant-based is the diet of eating vegan.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about, though. So is it plant-based? So pretty much, yeah, right?
Yeah, it's plant-based.
Yeah.
But being vegan, I guess if we could figure out some truth that showed us that mushrooms were like this intelligent race of beings that didn't want to get consumed, then it wouldn't be vegan to eat them anymore.
But for now, no, they literally grow from shit. So okay, they do. Okay,
they grow from shit.
Okay, they grow from cow manure, bro. Okay, so like check this out. This is crazy. So chaga mushrooms contains melanin pretty much in it. They call it CHC, which we're gonna call chromogenic complex. So when you can imagine chromogenic complex being analogous to like the chlorophyll in plants. Okay. So a plant needs the sun. It gathers the sunlight, and then it makes it uses the chlorophyll to like make sugars in the body and proteins and stuff like that.
And it gives it the green pigment.
The green pigment, exactly. So they pretty much attribute the chromogenic complex to, we'll say, human version of chlorophyll. Okay. Okay. So when we found chaga mushrooms and they extracted whatever like what's in it, like because it's not a hallucinogenic, they're using it for its like health properties. So 25% of its actual like biochemical properties is basically just melanin, which is it's chromogenic complex. It's just brown stuff. It's literally just it's stuff that soaks up the sun pretty much. So like that's why it's good for you to eat chaga or to rub it on your skin and stuff like that, because it has benefits that like it can like basically repair DNA. That's like pretty much what they're getting at. It's a DNA repair. It's a natural sunscreen pretty much.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that if you like take it and you mix it with like coconut oil, that you could lather it on your body and it would protect you from UV radiation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, chaga mushroom. So basically, it's just a really, really good vitamin-rich, supplement. So like, it's just crazy to think that like, it's not popularized, to like be melanated, like now, I don't really want to get into race too much, but like when it should be super popularized. So, you should want to be soaking up the sun's rays as much as
much as possible.
Yeah, you feel me? Like, so yeah, it's just like I just want this is why I wanted to bring this subject up. Just it's just mind bending that like it's like a fucking, and there's ways that we've already discovered that we get it from fungus. Like you can get this pigment from fungus, and you can fucking rub it on your skin, and you can you protect yourself from UV light and like stuff like that. It's just like I think there's a lot of things that like you were saying, it's hard. Like some people think it's hard to be vegan, but like it's not even like a thing where it's hard to be vegan. It's almost like you just don't know.
You just don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's uneducation. Yeah, and I think that's what I feel like we're here. Yeah, I'm here to shed a little bit more light on just like the uneducated. Just like the masses of people that don't really understand it. And melanin, excuse me, is like, it's like it can be used as almost like a natural battery, they're saying. So like they're saying in the future, they're trying to develop a natural, like almost how you would say like a sun panel, that you'd use in like on the roof of your house.
Like a solar panel.
Yeah, solar panel. Yeah, exactly. But they would use like, they just honestly use like melanin, so they just use the chromogenic complex, so they'd probably just use like the mushrooms or something like that, because it'd be weird if they use humans. I mean, that'd be a little weird, but or maybe they could synthesize that, that chemical or whatever. But it honestly, yeah, it's a DNA repair, and it's also so it's found in the blood. So basically, it's found when you deoxygenate and when you oxygenate. So it's like so. Basically, how much oxygen you're getting to your brain is determined by like not even how much melanin you have, but like how much all that where that's being produced is where the melanin and the oxygen and the blood is being produced on that same area. So like the more rich you are, and like the more melanin I guess you're producing, you could say, like the more oxygenated you would be. But like that doesn't like necessarily mean anything. Like that doesn't necessarily mean that if you don't produce melanin that you're not oxygen. Obviously you're breathing, it's not. That's not what it's about. It's about fucking it being that rich of an of a supplement that is being looked past. Is basically what I'm getting at. So I mean, and just like the dark skinned person in general, I feel like it's just looked at as a different person, or like you just looked at as in a different light. I feel like they can be looked at in a different light, because they are like the original person, or like where we all come from, because like you get the dark and all the pigments that like we are, they come from like the dark person, like without that we can't have
pigment at all.
Yeah, exactly. So
the darkest pigment,
and they were soaking up all the sun, and getting all that energy, and like they came up with all these crazy religions that we fucking
well, and the more melanin the more melanin you have is an indicator of where your family tree came from, closer to or farther away from the equator.
Yeah.
Because like the closer to the equator your family tree comes from, the more melanin you would have needed to have to protect yourself from the UV radiation. That's why people that are super white, they live on the poles. Because the farther you are from the equator, the less protection you need from the UV radiation, probably the more cloudy weather you live in, that type of shit.
Yeah.
And that's how humans probably evolved away from being melanated. And that's how we kind of know that humans started off in the equator areas, in Africa, in parts of South America.
So here's the trippy part though. Now it's crazy because we're all intermingled in America, and there's people that have evolved in those places, and there's people that can't even go outside without fucking needing sunblock and shit like that because they're not supposed to, like not even like you're not supposed to be anywhere, but like. Fuck, like that sucks. You're in a climate
that's me right there. I get fucking burned, yo. I get burned without the sunscreen, yo. So give me some chaga mushroom.
Hey, bro. See, that's what I'm saying. But like, you don't get burned. I mean, like, you get burned, but like, there's people that literally can't survive in the sun, bro, and like, that's bad. Like, I think that is to be promoted. That the sun is a great thing, and we should definitely promote melanin. But promote just all human life, in general. But like, just the promotion of melanin, I think is good because it'll bring light just to a lot of things. Like, because I feel like right now it's Black History Month, but like even that's just a label too, like it should should be Human History Month every month, and like we should just be remembering the right things at all the right times,
Well, it's so media bullshit.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not even really about history. It's a marketing thing. Black History Month is a marketing thing. It's not really doing anything to help black people in the way that it could if we were really knowing our shit and really understanding history for what it really is. Because if that was happening, there wouldn't be a race war in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
There wouldn't be discrimination in the first place.
But yeah, it's all distractions. But I don't know. I just feel like there's just a lot of things that we can't just be like, we can't just accept for face value, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's like, you can consider me a conspiracy theorist or just like whatever all day, every day, you know? But at the end of the day, like, there's just certain facts that like this video that we're going to link to you isn't even like a conspiracy theorist or anybody, you know? It's a person that studied chaga mushrooms and put out the study on melanin, you know? Like that type of thing, like, you know, like, so.
An unbiased scientist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like.
People don't like to listen to unbiased scientists, though.
I don't know what people like
drama.
to listen to.
People need the drama to be engaged with something. That's why religion is so engaging, because you have your pastor, your rabbi, or your, I don't know what they call it at the mosque, whoever your priest is. You have this person yelling up into the heavens and screaming songs of God, and it seems like this big, crazy thing. And as a normal person that's not a part of the priesthood or the rabbi, you know, you're just looking up like, damn, that dude is inspired. Like, oh my God, how does he have all this energy? How does he know and speak with so much conviction? And that's why human beings have followed people like that throughout time. And when there was no internet, because of those reasons, that's how communities were formed, by having that one person that claimed to be that person, having that confidence with that much dramatic energy.
Yeah, exactly.
That dramatic energy is what's needed for the average everyday person to be engaged. And because the real shit is not dramatic, the real shit is face value, and it's truth, and you could take it or leave it. Because it's so take it or leave it, people aren't attracted to it.
Exactly.
Because they can't wrap their minds around it. It's take it or leave it. It's real. And you can go on with your day believing it isn't, but it's still affecting you.
Okay, so does this all tie into what we were talking about? Remember how we were talking, like right before we started this, we were talking about how scientists will argue that souls don't exist. Or like not even scientists, because I mean, I don't even know. I can't even pinpoint one scientist that have said that. But I'm saying like science will pretty much
Neil
prove.
deGrasse Tyson.
Can you literally pull up a clip where he says souls don't exist?
In the Joe Rogan interview that they had when they were talking about purpose and the purpose behind life and the reason that we're here, he pretty much summed it all up to be an analytical ones and zeros. The universe operates this way. There's no purpose for any of it. And you can infer that if he believes that he also believes that we don't have a soul.
Okay. So yeah, science basically. Yeah. So like analytically speaking, you wouldn't have a soul. And 3D, like, fuck, now I don't even know where we went.
In 3 dimensions. Your soul wouldn't exist in the 3rd dimension.
Yeah, if you had to like try to pinpoint it, you couldn't. You know, like you couldn't extract a soul in a surgery. You know, like
no, not with the technology we have now.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the understanding of it that we have.
Exactly. So the understanding. So that's what you were just talking about.
We were talking about how people don't gravitate towards truth. They gravitate towards
crazy dramatic. Okay. This is all play into this whole 3rd dimension, and like I don't even know. It's so weird to get into just like thinking in this light, you know. But like physical and just us wanting that, and the vibes of that is just what we attract to, because of the physical that we are just. You know, that we're outputting. You know, just because that's who we are as people. You know, like it's like almost a thing where it's almost inevitable because we're electrical beings, like that dude that was talking about the quantum, you know, that dude, like how he's talking about how we all have like an electric field. So
we have a charge.
Yeah. So it's like, of course we're going to attract to what looks like, or like, you know, what feels right, you know, like I guess. So like, that's where that whole soul thing comes into play. So science I don't think science will ever be able to prove that we have a soul or like a, whatever this is,
not
you know,
in
consciousness.
Its current constraints, probably not.
Mm-hmm. Because that exact reason, because it has to go beyond those constraints, meaning that like you have to put down the whole ones and zeros and actually like, you know, see things for what they are, and like do these certain drugs. Like, I don't even know. You get, like, even Joe Rogan will be like, I don't know if drugs are just like certain chemical reactions in your brain doing this and this and this. But it's like, what are you seeing though? You know, like you can't.
Well, yo, I say this all the fucking time when we talk about acid or we talk about weed or we talk about anything. When you think of a hallucination, you think of like Pikachu floating around in the room, and you think of weird, crazy shit that you've seen in movies of like someone breaking down and having a psychotic breakdown. That's what you think of when you think of someone hallucinating. You think of them talking to their dead dog that died 12 years ago. But when you take acid and you're in the right headspace, you literally lock into the same exact mind state every time you do it. You see the same exact fucking sacred geometrical shapes floating around, and in everything that you look at, you see the truth in shit. You see the shit that you learn about in science class. You see it in stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So if that's the case, and that's a hallucination, but it's literally showing you like the flower of life that's in every living thing when you're looking at stuff when you're tripping, why is that a hallucination? Because hallucinations are randomized. You can't have the same hallucination twice. But if you're opening your mind up to being able to see more of what's in front of you,
exactly,
then you'll see the same thing every time.
Exactly. So
that's the difference.
So pretty much in science current form, like we can break it down, and it only goes into atoms pretty much, because then after atoms, you split an atom and you fucking blow shit up. You know, like, so it's kind of crazy.
It shows you how the universe was started on a smaller form.
And to think how it'll play, you know, how we're messing with it, kind of, you know, like, it's saying this is as far as it goes. Don't go any further, you know, like pretty much like don't go any further than this, bro. Like, go more within. I feel like it's telling, like I think physical tells us a little bit more than
it does.
Yeah.
I think all the answers are right in front of us, and it's really that easy, and it's somewhere in between science and faith, because faith makes no logical sense. It doesn't make any sense that I work so hard at my job and I just know that everything's going to be okay one day. That's why I put in countless hours day in and day out, make sure that I'm doing my job really well, come home, do the shit with my content, and make sure that I'm keeping up with my grit and like all the shit that we talk about. None of that makes any sense because there's no experiment that's been done in the past with someone that did everything the exact way that I'm doing it, that made it happen, that I can follow and I can format, and boom, I did it. It makes no sense, but I feel it. And I know it's real. It
has to be self-fulfillment no matter what, I think. And like as selfish, you know, as it may sound, self-fulfillment is everything, you know, like, and when you're not doing exactly like what you said, you're not fulfilling exactly what yourself, exactly. So like anytime you're down, having downtime and stuff like that, and it's weird, right? Like you'll start thinking about stuff that you could be doing. And then you like eventually you'll just be doing those things, like, you know, like then you, like you said, at one point you're not thinking about things you could be doing because you're always doing your day's filled up with like things that you're doing, and like I feel like that, like that's one of those secrets of life things that like this whole third dimension and whole just like the attraction of where we're going and like media, it kind of just takes us away from that whole realm, because like you want to just sit in front of a screen, have this comfy ass couch, and just fucking look at someone else live, you know, like you know, that shit's crazy, dude. Like people just like go home and watch other people live simulated lives.
They're trying to live the simulated life. I'm trying to live that real life.
Exactly. See, out so here it's just
grinding,
like
baby.
So that's why, you know, science can't prove everything. Science can't prove what you're doing right now, you know, like, and like
that's what I was saying.
Exactly.
Faith makes no sense. You like knowing that everything's gonna be okay makes no sense, because at any point you could die. A fucking meteor could come out of the sky the size of a fucking like small golf ball and burn a hole through your brain. At any point in time that happens to a couple people a day. It really does. And meteor showers happen all the time. Asteroids have happened in the past. Any of that shit.
Bro, you could just have a heart attack or like a stroke. Literally, bro.
But why don't you? Faith. Belief, timing, all that shit is real shit. And people get really sensitive when you say that, because obviously there are tragic deaths, like with everything that happened with Kobe, or people getting shot.
There's tragic deaths, all over the place,
Somehow or another, it had to have happened for a reason.
Yeah, for sure.
There's reasons this shit happens, even if they aren't reasons that human beings in their current lifetime understand.
That's okay. See, so that's like why can we have an intellectual conversation like that as 25? Like, what are you, 23, 22?
I'm 22.
22. I'm 26. Like, like we're like under 30 years old and we can have this type of conversation, but it's not even. That's not even. We have to even get Bernie Sanders in the fucking office. Like, we can't even do that together, as like a fucking, or like anybody that's gonna like benefit us, in general, like it's just everybody's so.
Speaking of the election,
discombobulated. Yeah.
We promise we're gonna, before the election happens, we're gonna do a whole like campaign shit where we go with candidates.
I don't know. I think are you registered to vote?
I am.
Oh fuck! I fucked up, bro, because I don't know if I'm registered.
I think so. Is there a cutoff? Is there like a cutoff time to?
No, but I think you have to go to the DMV and like reapply to be like a registered voter.
I think that you can do it online.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure you can do it online because when I renewed my driver's license, I re-registered to vote online.
Okay.
So if you go on the DMV website, you can I think you can re-register to vote and they'll send you the ballot info, or you can also do. I'm pretty sure in 2020 you can vote online.
Yeah.
Because I voted to get the paper shit, or I signed up to get the paper shit. But you don't have to do that. You can actually go to the polls. You can get it online. There's all sorts of ways.
Have you voted before?
I voted on local shit before. I haven't voted for a president before.
Okay, in local shit though, I've never voted before. Like, do you put your name down? Is it is it anonymous or how does that work?
No, so it's official ballot shit. It's like real shit, like your name, your address, all that shit.
Cool. Okay. That gives you a little bit more, like a little bit more hope.
Like, to be honest, the way that the system's set up, it really could work if there wasn't expounding. That's not the right word.
Well,
if there wasn't outside factors that prevent it from working, because obviously lobbyists are a real thing, political interests are a real thing. People with big money that control politicians are a real thing. Mm-hmm. So there are certain things that are just never going to happen with the society that we have, and we just kind of have to accept it. A lot of older people don't accept it. They're like, young people, you need to go out and vote. Like, I am one of the young people that, yes, I'll go out and vote, but I do understand that if a rich person that owns the fucking Federal Reserve doesn't want something to happen, then it's not fucking happening.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen. The pendulum will swing a little this way to the left, a little this way to the right. People will bicker about Republican, Democrat. All that shit will be a thing, but it's never gonna change too much unless the powers that be want it to change. So we either have to change who the powers that be are, change what their interests and motivations are, or we have to accept that this is the world that we live in and make the best out of what we have in our given circumstances and give love to our families and spread love in that way. Because at the end of the day, the trillionaire motherfuckers that are in Saudi Arabia and the people that have money from back in the fucking times of the pharaohs don't give a fuck about our interests. They just want to make sure that everything runs and that businesses make money.
No, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about human life. As long as human life is producing money, then that's literally all that matters.
And as long as the planet is habitatable, that's why I always say, like, I do understand everything about global warming, but the wealthiest people in the world, they want a planet to live on too. So unless they've figured out how to fucking go somewhere else and they've fucked us, which we don't know that that's a real thing yet, then they need to live here too. And they're not going to fuck it up if they're going to have a home to live on, They're not that stupid. They're trillionaires for a reason,
And my belief is that, like, I don't know if I've probably said this on the podcast multiple times, but I feel like the world will get rid of us before we get rid of the world, That's just one of, like, my many beliefs, I feel like if we're going to start splitting all these atoms and shit, then the world's just going to give us a big fuck you and split us right back, So it's just like...
And I feel like if you're listening, you have to be on a certain wave to understand what we're saying. We're very open-minded, and we don't stand 100% cemented behind each idea that comes out of our mouths. We're just really open to all these ideas that are in the infinite amount of possibilities out there. So if someone gives us evidence or proof to any one thing being a fact, we are by facts. But a lot of the things that we're talking about are not facts, and they're opinionated, and they're based off of actually how much you know about the world and what's going on around you. And a lot of things aren't objective. Like, you can't find objective truths in a lot of the topics that we're talking about. So just know that, and if you have an opinion and you want to voice it, drop down in the comment section below and tell us what you think we might,
I think it's straight though. I think this is good. I think like bring all this stuff to light, us being ignorant, us not knowing stuff, you know, and sparking all those debates and stuff is so good because bringing people together for consciousness is like the best thing. Like I feel like I could do for anybody, bro.
Yeah,
like I swear, like it's just crazy to me to think that like just for me just putting out any type of information that's positive and for anybody to even argue about that or you know, and then anybody to see that too. That's cool to me, you know. Like it'll put it in your brain as opposed to it just not even being. Like you said, being in the infinite realm of possibilities, like somewhere back there where it can't even be caught, you know.
It's real talk, bro. I think
so if you like, and this all goes back to like you being fucking or like us. I don't know. I like to say you because I like seeing your progression, you know, like your views on YouTube and stuff like that, you know. But like as you get more views on YouTube, it reflects, you know. What you see where people like, what people are looking at, what you need to do to get people to do, you know, to get
Shouts
to
out
engage
NBA
more.
Youngboy.
That's
People
what I'm
really
saying.
fuck
So,
with
like,
NBA Youngboy. I'm gonna do more NBA Youngboy content for sure.
I think it's cool just to bring light to a lot of these things where people aren't really talking about it. You know, it's like even just the evolution of hip hop. You know, you got to know we got to know our roots. Like, you know, it's cool. Like we can't be rappers and not know our roots. Like it's cool. Like I guess, but like.
And I've always known a lot about East and West, but I didn't know that much about the South, bro. I didn't know that much about the South and how everything got started. And like the timelines of everything. Because you think of like 88 to 94 and you think that sounds really close together, but a lot happens in 6 years.
Mm-hmm. And the sounds are completely different.
For sure. So different to 2004 to 2014 to 2020. People are sounding great. Like the music is so lit in 2020, bro. Like the vibe of the beats and shit. I think that beats in 2020 are better than beats have ever been. Real talk.
You know, okay, so this is what I was tripping out on the other day. I feel like we are literally in, you know, like what you would say the future. You know, like when people are when you watch the movie Back to the Future and there's hoverboards literally and there's VR helmets and like the fucking music is all technology, you know, like it's all electric. It's literally the future, bro. Like the only thing that's not completely the future yet is like flying cars, but like we're like a Tesla is
but we've
floating.
We've actually figured out though the reason why they never put the flying car out. They've had it. Like it's a technology that exists. It's just about regulation and it not being a possibility to regulate it.
I always thought about that too. You think about the levels of it, like, you know, like how it'd be so weird. There would have
to be like floating holograms showing you
shit.
Where like the streets are and whatnot.
I'm just thinking we're in the future. We've been in the future for a long time, and you know, we're just now seeing like all like the crazy, you know, technologies. But I don't even know. For some weird reason, I've already been here before and I've seen all the, like, this is like, all this stuff is primitive, bro. Like, I feel like all this cool technology that we see, bro, is just so like, it's the hardest way to get what we want, pretty much. You know, like, I feel like there's a way easier way for us to achieve all these, like, technological advances.
I think flip-flop that. It's the easiest way because we're letting the technology do the things that we're able to do for us.
Okay, yeah. You know
what I mean?
Okay.
But, you know, and Aaron talks about this a lot, and we were talking about this also with Gonzo the other day, when you stop using your brain is when all those superpowers probably become available. Because the more you're using your brain, the more computing power that you're using, the more stress you're putting on all that shit, you know? That is what's taking up all the space necessary to just, you know, levitate and fucking that crazy shit, water bend, fire bend, all the shit that you really, like, I know that shit's real, bro. I know that you can fucking use your mind to focus on atoms and like change their state. It's possible because it makes sense.
Well, okay, here's the thing about it being possible. It wouldn't be possible if we couldn't perceive it. Think about that. You know, like everything that we perceive has to be possible because we, like, without us, nothing exists. You know, without yourself, actually, nothing exists. If you want to be like really technical about it, you know, like if you weren't here right now, you wouldn't know what this is here right now. You know,
inventions are pulled out of your imagination. So where is that imagination? It's probably the future. The future that's existing right now.
Everything
is going on right now. That's why you feel like you've been here before because you are here right now. Mm-hmm. You're here, there, and you're there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
we're all here.
It's a cycle.
But everyone's like, "What the fuck? You guys are tripping." Dude,
we are tripping.
But here's the thing, like you were saying, bro,
trip.
like you can fucking trip out every day and like do fucking psychedelics and like let the world pass you by and be like everything, fuck everything. Or you can be totally a computer and like do everything, you know, like calculated. But like, I feel like it's like almost like a do what you believe and be like. I think this whole episode I think is a self-fulfillment type thing, you know, like
yeah, for real.
I feel like that's what maybe I'm getting from this whole week, you know, my hindsight, maybe my hindsight of this whole month and this whole year, these past couple months, bro. Yeah, 2020 have been like self-fulfillment, bro. Like it's all about me because like at the end of the day, like I am you and you are me. So like if I'm taking care of myself, then I'm taking care of you, you know?
Straight up. It's a great way to end the pod, bro.
Sheesh.
Whew.
Love you, bro.
As always, this is Hindsight 2020, where you think about your year, you think about your month, you think about your week, you think about your day, motherfucker.
Even your last hour with us.
And your minute that's about to happen 2 seconds from now. Yeah.
But we can't regret
that shit.
We can't, no. We love you guys.
Later, y'all. I love this shit, bro. It's fun.